My name is Willie Barney with the Empowerment Network, founder, facilitator, and president of the Empowerment Network. I think from early days, even when I remember literally 7 and 8 years old in Mississippi, where I would see the disparities. You know, I didn't have those words back at that time at 7 and 8, but I would see on one side of the railroad tracks, there were really homes that had a lot of issues, shotgun homes, I guess they call them. And on the other side, you would see mansions and you would see brick homes. There's something in my heart and my spirit that always that question, is that the way it's supposed to be? You know? And then I think as time went on, when I graduated from college and then had an opportunity to travel around the country, no matter where I went, I saw the same thing. Whether it was a street, a stream, a river, railroad tracks, it pretty much separates those that have and those that have not. I initially got involved through my church ministry work, working with youth in the community. And then as I worked at the newspaper, I began to really look at some of the articles and started doing some research on what is the graduation rate, you know, what is the income rate, what percent of African Americans are the prison population. And the more I began to collect that information, it really became quite obvious that there were some major disparities in Omaha and pretty much what I had seen across the country. But it was more extreme in Omaha. And so I was really interested in why. You know, when we have the Fortune 500 companies, when we have one of the wealthiest individuals in the whole world that lives in Omaha, yet when you start looking at this data, there are some extreme disparities when it comes to the African American population and then even targeted areas within our community. And that really grabbed a hold of me, and it was just something I prayed about and talked to people about, but it just never really left me. I love marketing, I love communications, the whole strategic planning field, and I was in prayer about how can I use what I've learned over these last 10, 15 years in marketing, strategic planning, and exposure that I've had in different parts of the country. How can I use that to benefit this community? In the middle of the night, one night, I just couldn't take it anymore. I was up praying and got to a point where I was sitting at my kitchen table, and I remember just vividly saying, you know what, I'll step out. I'll step out and see if there are others in the community that are willing to participate actively. And we didn't have a name for it. All I knew was bring people together, remove the egos, you know, leave those at the door. But at the end of the day, can we cast a vision for what this community can be if we're all included and we work together? So the Empowerment Network is about bringing organizations and individuals together to strategize, to listen, and put plans together that then we can work on together, realizing that none of us individually can do as much as we can collectively. Each of us has a responsibility. So personal responsibility is a big piece of that. So it's supporting families, but it's also, you know, lack of a better word, empowering parents and empowering kids to understand that they control their own destiny. And so the challenge that we put out to families is that as you are receiving support, give support. If it's as simple as joining your neighborhood association, if it's being a part of the voting process, if it's reading to your children, going to the school, we encourage every single family, no matter what income, no matter what race, that they would participate in this society that we live in. Give back. When I've seen the faces of young men specifically, young men that others have given up on, and when they receive that first check through the employment program, and people that literally, a young man that had lost a father to gun violence and other family members to gun violence, to see that hard exterior just for a moment when he opened up his first paycheck and this big smile came over his face. I'll never forget it. It just said something to me. Sometimes I think we underestimate that value of a person realizing that I can go to work, I can do something positive, and I can generate a positive income. I can buy my own shoes, I can buy stuff for my family, but there's something about that. And I think when you take those individual experiences and you see literally over the last 8 years, 3,000 plus people have had that first time experience through that employment program. I think as a group, that's probably the thing that excites us the most, because as people are able to generate their own income and they're able to support their own household, a lot of the other social services over time will be diminished because they're able to stand on their own feet. And so I think that's one thing that we can never forget in the work that we do, is that this is truly about families getting stronger to where they can hold themselves up and then help the next family. we're not where we want to be. You know, even though the graduation rate for African Americans has gone from 55% to 75%, it needs to be at 90, 95% or 100%. The violence rate is down, but we have a long way to go. You know, one homicide, one shooting is one too many in our community. So until we have zero, we're not done.